Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness, peace and power to the Cosmic Consciousness family and soul tribe, as well as those who pass by. It ain't always other people. I know we would like it to be. And for those of us who still like to blame, we probably still make it be. But the reality is, it ain't always other people. And I want to remind us of that, because we could get so caught up in our own egotistical thinking realms of our own mind that we forget to take a look at ourselves. And for some of us, we go to the mirror every day. Just to look at only what the mirror can reflect. And any one of us who have ever used the mirror, and we all do, know that what the mirror reflects and that which we see is not what's really on the inside. It ain't always other people. And sometimes we have to look at our own patterns. We have to look at our own attitudes. We have to look at our own actions. And we will have to look at our own behaviors to break the chains of our own cycles. Because if it's one thing that I find disturbing about us as people, especially egotistical people, those of us who operate off the ego, and I know what that's like. I've been there. Everything I talk about, I've been there. I've been through it. That's what makes the message bite. But we have a tendency to look down on the very people, places, or things that we really look up to. And what that shows me as a human being who has been on the inside of that, and as a higher being who is now able to look from the outside of that back at it, it shows me a real dis-ease that's still present in us as humanity. How can you look down on what you really look up to? The only time that we as people will do that is when we're not honest with ourselves. It's when we're not thankful about our experiences. It's when we're not appreciative for what we do have versus what we would like to have. And when we don't have the ability to be grateful or exercise gratitude. And in those instances, if you pay attention to yourself, you'll find yourself with self-sabotaging thoughts. But gratitude keeps us out of self-sabotaging thoughts. Appreciativeness keeps us out of self-sabotaging thoughts. Thankfulness keeps us up out of self-sabotaging thoughts, because it keeps us present. It keeps us in the moment. It keeps us now. Why is that important? Because too far in the future, you're anxious about something. And if you back in the past, then you're on your way to be depressed about something. Recognize the moment that is now. Shadow work is a good thing, but most of us don't like to talk about it when it comes up. But without shadow work, there's no healing. And without healing, there's no purification. And without purification, there's no transformation. And shadow work take work, but shadow work works. Why did I point that out? Because my question to you is, what are you requiring of yourself? What are you willing to unlearn that has been a block in your life and preventing you from being all that you have the potential to be? See, I asked y'all the same type of question that at some point in time within my life I have had to ask myself. And it's important to start asking yourself these type of questions if you haven't at this stage in your life, wherever you are at in your life. Because every time you do, you'll realize that your previous thoughts and beliefs will have to be changed, deleted, and or corrected. And every time you change, delete, and correct something that you previously had a thought, belief, or idea or conception about, and you have to do some adjustments, you're also redefining and reforming and refashioning yourself. It's not something that we get to see in the process, but when we get to a certain stage, a certain ranking, a certain expansion within our evolution, like I say, where you can get outside the bubble that you was once in and look back at it and then be able to speak to it so you can help others get outside that bubble where they can speak to it with those who will come through the signature of their soul and help them get out. You know, the solidarity, there is solidarity in the collectiveness, meaning that I could be singular, but at the same time operate within and as the collective. What are you requiring of yourself to have it? Hopefully I can get through this this animal message. This is the last one, family. Kangaroo. And I caught this kangaroo card say, be a force for good. But in the book, it say, act as a peaceful warrior. And when I caught that earlier, because it was the last card and I know I ain't had to do no shuffling, at first instant, I pre-assumed that, I said, man, they made a mistake. But then my higher self told me to look at it again, and when I looked at it again, the card say be a force for good. The book say act as a peaceful warrior. And I said, wow, okay, it's saying the same thing. And being a force for good, you will sometimes be called to act as a peaceful warrior. That don't mean you won't have to turn some tables. That don't mean you may not have to bust some heads. That don't mean you might not have to pull your sword out. But act as a peaceful warrior. Everybody ain't gonna get it. About kangaroos, we're gonna work through the phone. You hear me? Or I'll just wait. The message in that was, what the Spirit saying to me is, when you're able to not let what can be a distraction, because I don't know how important that phone call was because I didn't answer it, and what I'm doing right now. So otherwise that was a distraction. So when you're able to get past the distraction, you have distracted the distraction from distracting you. About kangaroos. These unique animals incarnated from Nigale, the ascended aspect of Mars, at the same time as the Aborigines, to ground the energy and wisdom of the golden civilization of Lemuria. They are tuning into the etheric libraries within Lemurian crystals to access information to help us move into this new golden era. Kangaroos love this planet and all of nature, and they use their kundalini, their serpent energy, their vital energy force to bound around so that the fragile soul structure of Australia is not damaged. Salute the Triple JC. As healers, they can draw light from the cosmic heart to heal the ley lines wherever they go. They are connected to the great archangels Raphael, Gersisa, and Sandalphon, who work within the center of Earth. Kangaroos are peaceful warriors. Their qualities include courage, leadership, and power, and balanced with these feminine virtues of love, tenderness, and wisdom. They birth incredibly tiny joys and must care for their vulnerable offspring. They birth incredibly tiny joeys, I guess that's what they call their babies, and must care for their vulnerable offspring. This develops their instinct to protect those weaker than themselves. Guidance. This is the card of wise, balanced, compassionate leadership. Be a peaceful warrior, an upholder of justice and equality. Particularly help those who are vulnerable. Treat our beautiful planet with respect and love. Then nature will support you. I sure improve this every day. And you can too. At the same time, you are invited to tune in, to tap in to the information and knowledge held within the Lemurian crystals. You may not be consciously aware that you are receiving light when you think about or hold one of these sacred crystals. You may not be consciously aware that you are receiving light as you listen to this message. Nevertheless, a download of keys and codes for the new golden era is being transmitted to you and will enable you to ease your journey through life. Just be open to receiving it. Stillness and abundance, love and light, health and wholeness. Peace and power to the family. Thanks for the like, share, subscribes, comments, questions. Thanks for rocking with me because you rock with me and allow me to be authentically me. Peace. I am Sawu the God.